Alrighty, let's see. How's that? Can you guys hear me now? The audio input here? Let me know how that is. You guys should be able to hear me okay, hopefully. Is that coming through? Okay, sweet, you can hear now. Good. Let's see. Alright, cool. Good deal. Alright, so the first bug I need to look at here, trying to replicate this, is people have been reporting when they open this, there you go, the loading bar gets all screwed up like that, but sometimes it like stretches to the sides of the screen, and I have yet to be able to replicate this, but I've seen it on other people's computers, as well as Al experiences this quite often. So I want to see what goes on when it's loading, what causes that. See if I can stress it. Was this stream announced anywhere? No, it was not, Kenneth. I just kind of thought, you know what, I'm fixing these bugs, I might as well do it live. And hang out and anyone can ask questions and chill. Alright, let's see here. So, Unfortunately, I'm going to see if I can break this loading bar. So here's our loading bar style where we design it. And looks like here we basically say, hey, this loading bar is going to be a new style. Here's our loading bar style. We initialize it. And then it looks like that's actually all we do. Do we never actually use this anywhere here? That's unfortunate. Let me see. No, we have it declared and we're not actually using it. It's just a style. So not super helpful. Why that's in here like that must have just been early development of it. Let's type in loading here. This animation feature I believe we no longer have. It was causing some crashes, so we removed this. Loading, assets initialized. Alright, here we go. Let me see this. Downloads loading GUI. Hold on, let me open this up. What does that say? Yeah, okay, it's just loading. Launching is not equal to null. Alright, let's see here. Alright, this is the categories toggle. Not what we're looking for. Loading, upgrading Filebase 2. Here we go. So this is our update menu. Display pop-up telling the user to update. It goes to an update. Upgrading Filebase 2. And then here, loading menu. Okay, let's see what this is. Alrighty, here we go. Loading plus the end. So something with this rect is getting all jacked up. Let me see here. Yeah, I can. I think we can turn that off. Let me see. Let me see. I'd be able to just turn off that overlay at least. Let's see. All right, so here is where this happens. So I need to figure out exactly how this works. Loading menu, so string end, right? It's basically how much, what the percentage is, I assume. So I want to find every reference to a loading menu to see where we call this from. So we call this from the Filebase line 609 here, where if time dots is greater than 800, time dots equals 0, and then here we basically just call loading. And it looks like regardless we do this. So if asset manager initialized is false, if the initialized asset manager is false, or we're loading data, so if any of these conditions become true, we are going to say time loading plus plus. If time loading is greater than 5,000, which is going to be 5 seconds probably, we're going to restart it. If the asset manager initialized false and loading data is false, then we're going to reinitialize. Otherwise, we're going to say, hey, the end is nothing, time dots plus plus. If time dots is greater than 200, then end equals dot for some reason. Oh, it's just loading dots here. So we're just animating those loading dots. And then if the dots is greater than 800, we set time dots back to 0, and it reanimates those dots. And then here we say loading menu, and you pass in the end value. So interestingly, though, the loading end value always gets cleared off right here. I don't know how frequently this actually gets called. But then we say, hey, loading menu, you pass in the end value, overlay, color, draw texture, color white, draw textures, alignment, bold, yada, 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 yada. All right, and then here we actually get to the loading. So loading plus the end value. And let me see here. Text style bold alignment is to the middle right. And the percent here is equal to the load progress divided by 1 times 100. And I'm wondering if we are getting a weird floating point value, and we need to like force this to be an int, possibly. Which could be the case. Let me see here. Load progress is a float value. We should maybe convert that to an int, this entire operation here. And then multiply it by 100. And then we can just make sure that this whole thing becomes an int. Let me see if that does that. If %.length is greater than 2 and the load progress is less than 1, then our percent equals to percent substring, you grab it. And then here, we're just doing some calculations here. Percent plus percent based on the position height, and just some rec data. This should all be okay. And then here we have the width. We're doing a load progress divided by 100, and we ground it to an int, which is good. And then we multiply it by 180. All right, let's just see if this gets rid of that floating point error. All right, that looks pretty clean. Try that again. Loading 0%. It's just going instantly. The net is too good. I've never been able to fully break this thing. Let's see if it goes all the way over. Stretch it out. Nope. Alright. It looks like it literally just loads. Does not want to break. I think it's such a... I'm not sure why it breaks for some people. And for some reason, we are getting just straight from 0 to 100. I think it's going like too fast. There must be some delay in there, or it's just loading quickly. The network here is too good right now. Let me see if I can get some of these black squares to appear. Dock it everywhere. I'm trying to just break this thing. I want to see if it's going to do something funny. And it looks like it's working pretty fine. But then again, I've always had this work. Yeah, it's not showing a weird percentage anymore, which I'm fine with. I'm assuming it's because it's now just an int and it's working too quickly. I don't know if I don't really know if I can throttle my network or if I care to set up to be able to like run on 3G on my computer. But for the most part, I think setting that to an int may have fixed at least that rounding error where it was like 1.9. Oh no, let me just open this a bunch of times, see if we can fix it or get it to crap. I don't know. Curious to see if that's consistent every time. You guys see how it goes to 100 then back to 0? Does it do that every time? No, it doesn't. Okay. And last time. I'm not sure what that is. It reset there. I'm curious why it does that. Let's see, checking for updates, loading, and then loading again. I wonder if that first progress bar is checking for updates and there are no updates. Let me see here. That looks consistent. I don't like that. Why is it doing that? Although I didn't see it there that time. Alright, did it that time. Let me close. Alright, so that's not consistent. I'm not sure why that's happening. Something is causing it to go down again or restart, but it comes back really quickly. I'm not sure what could be causing that. If I had to guess, there's got to be, it might be where we are resetting the end string. I'm not sure why we're doing that. Let me just debug what this actually is. Let me see what these values are printing out. Okay, so that's just the loading bar values. All right. And then just resets. That's fine. So that's not controlling it. It would be this percentage then. So here, percent equals the percent substring. And here we get the rect position. You pass in the percent. If percent.length is greater than 2 and the loading progress is less than 1, then it equals the substring. What the hell does that do again? Retrieves the substring from the system, so the member is overloaded for complete information. Okay, so basically he's grabbing the 0 and so the first character, which is the int value, I assume, from this percent. So let's get a value. Let's print this out, see what this actually is. So Filebase. I want to see if this actually does. Let me see. One thing I'd love to see is window resizing and scaling. You can do that. You can already, I don't know if you can do full, yeah, you can do maximize. There's nothing stopping you from full screening this. Or if you want to stretch it up, you can totally do that. Like, let me go ahead and close it. It already scales. Like you can resize this as much as you want. Try dragging me out the docked window. Yeah, here. It's not docked right now and I can resize this thing. I can resize this. See?
Here, 1 sec, mommy. Let me go get him. John,
Yeah, what's up?
are you busy?
Here, 1 sec, guys. My wife has a question. Hold on. Okay, so here we go. I say I want to print out some of the values that are going on inside of Filebase here. And let's see. So here we are in Filebase. This is the method loading menu. I'm going to get the value of that percent screen. Save that and let's see. All right, interesting. So everything right now basically goes from 0 to 1. And then we're not getting anything in between because we're now rounding it. So it's between 0 and 1. But and then we do a multiply somewhere. That's why it's no longer doing the proper calculation. It's because of this. I'm taking it all to an int. If I add this back to a float, I believe it should look a little bit better. And there you go. So now we're getting it back. But that doesn't really fix the issue of how we got that floating point value. So what we need to do is just make sure that the decimal value is really just an int. Because you'll see here that we got 98.22. That's the problem. So to fix this, essentially, I'm just going to take the percent here, which is the load progress. And that load progress, where does that come in from? Where do we calculate that load progress? Okay, we maintain that throughout for some reason. We use it, okay, we repurpose it, that's why. Let me see here where we set it to 0. When we initialize, load progress has become 0. And then here when we calculate this. So load progress, where do we actually increment load progress then? So it equals 0. We calculate the percent. Actually, don't see where we increase the load progress. Weird. Is it easier to make a 2D game in 2020.2? I think it doesn't really matter whether you make a 2D game or 3D game. Do I think 2D might be easier? Probably. Working with sprites typically is a little easier, but Filebase lets you build some pretty awesome 3D games. Wow, I'm blanking where the hell we increment this load progress bar. What do we think that is? Let's see here. So we know the percent value. Let's also get the load progress value. So loading menu and then load progress value. Somewhere that must be getting implemented. Incremented. Let's see. Yeah, Richard Jenkins is kicking ass, guys, with Filebase. Okay, check this out. So load progress is at, okay, so load progress goes between 0 and 1. So what we want to do basically is, you see how it has that floating point value of 0.66? We need to make sure that it's just 0.6. So we're going to basically say, okay, I only want that to be 1 decimal place. In order for us to do that, the load progress here, we need to do a calculation before, but I need to know actually where the heck that gets incremented. We look here at load progress. Let's find this. Okay, here it is. So filebase.instance.progress, and we're calculating it randomly at the initial start. I believe that's just to get the bar moving. And let me see here. We do that for a reason, so that's super low in the beginning, but then that actually could be a problem. We might want to just set this to 0.1 and 0.3, honestly. And that could fix this. 0.1f to 0.3f. Let me see where else we do this. Load progress is equal to 0.66f times that. Okay, so basically it's like that last final bit while it's downloading. Let's also just adjust this to 0.6, 0.3. Let's see what else we're doing. Unity engine 0.9 and 1. It looks like we're doing this for random things, but let's see. Just want to get rid of any other extra decimals. All right, load progress finally hits 1. Here's where we declare it. We set it to 0, and then here we string the percent. So let's save this. All right, that was a lot cleaner. But let me see here. We're still getting these like weird floating point values. So 66.6 is good. And actually, probably don't even want that 0.6. We can remove that in a moment. But here, load progress is at 0.666, 0.934. I really just want 1 decimal point. Where does that come from? So let me see here. Before we do anything with that, I'm going to retake the load progress here. And I want to basically get it down to 1 decimal point. So I'm going to say load progress is going to equal to the current value of load progress. I believe multiplied by, if I want 1 decimal place, 10. And then divided by 10. So, and I think that will let me do what I want. And I might need to do it like this. We're going to say take the load progress times 10. And then divided by 10. I believe that is the math we can use. I can confirm that by simply Googling something. Let me see. 2 decimal places in the float value. Okay. Okay, here we go. We use mathf.round your float times however many decimal places. So load progress, which is a float value, equal to the mathf.round. And then here we have the value, which is load progress, times 10f divided by 10f. So we want 1 decimal. All right, and then we reuse the value here. Hopefully we get a cleaner value. Oh, shit, look at that. Went up to 150 for a second there. Weird. We did clean this up, though. So here, loading progress is at 0.6, which is 60%. Then it got to 0.92 for some reason. And then it somehow got up to 1.5, which is really interesting. I don't know how it did that. Mathf round float divided by 10, that's 1 decimal. So that load progress is going to be 6. Hey Tom, we're just fixing some Filebase bugs that I have, and I'll be continuing this later as well, but we're going to I got maybe like 40 minutes left before I gotta head out of here, but we'll be doing this again tonight. We're just fixing up some Filebase bugs that have been long overdue, and I got a new feature we're gonna implement as well once I fix these bugs. We're getting into some new audio stuff, which is exciting. All right, let me see here. Load progress. What the hell was wrong with this thing? Here's the percent. It's based on load progress, and load progress is showing it was 0 and then it was 1.5, but actually it was 0.9. So we just need to make sure that it can't go above 0.9 or 1, right? So here, if the load progress is greater than or equal to 1, then it's obviously going to equal 1, right? So load progress is going to equal 1. And then we'll calculate the percent. Yeah, some people have been reporting issues with the loading bar not scaling properly. All right, here we go. That was more, that was better. Now, how many times does that actually get called? This got called a bunch. It's just so quick on my network that I can't really see any values between it because it jumps. But Seems to be okay. And %90 and then 1. Let's run that again. Goes straight to 0, 60, 100. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. I don't think we're going to get that floating point error anymore. That looks good. Alright, now for the rec thing that I have seen, I can't get this to do this. I know some people have reported that it does. I'm glad we see these black squares. We'll be able to fix that shortly. I have yet to figure out how to break the loading bar. I've seen it on owls where it breaks. I've seen it on some Game Dev HQ members where it breaks. I don't know what causes it to stretch all the way out like that. I also don't know if that's a Mac only issue. Owl has a Mac and I've seen it, so it could be a Mac. I haven't asked anyone else who's experienced that. Has anyone who's watching this right now, have you guys seen where when you load up Filebase, the progress bar goes like all the way to the right for some reason? Has anyone seen that? But it doesn't look like it's happening. And let me see. It looks like loading is okay. Something I do like, and this is so small, we fake a lot of the percentage stuff for some reason. I'm assuming because it's, in hindsight, it's like super, super fast. But here, let me remove these logs here. We don't need these anymore. The loading progress bar divided by 1. And the load progress, that gets us like 0.6, I believe, right? Let me see here. So load progress was what? All right, load progress was 0.6. So divided by 1 is just 0.6. So we don't even need to do this divided by 1 stuff. Regardless, it's already 0.6. But we multiply it by 100. That gets us our thing. But the percent, for some reason, of load progress isn't changing that often. You'll see here load progress goes straight to 0.6 to 0.9 to 1, obviously. Why it doesn't go in between that, I really don't know. I think it's either too quick that it's loading, or it's completely being faked, and I don't remember. So, but everything else looks okay. I'm gonna go ahead and resolve that one for now, open it back up. So give me a second here. I have to look at, I want to make sure that I did that correctly. By the way, I don't usually use this this visual editor. I actually hate this visual editor, but I use it to check for if I had merge complex before I started. It's just easier. All right, that looks good. All right, and here we'll push that. Yours usually starts far to the right, and I'm on PC. Yeah, I can't replicate that. That's what I'm trying to replicate. For some reason, it does not want to do that. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hell what causes that. Let's see. I've noticed a small bug where Filebase doesn't show all my installed assets. Interesting. Have you rescanned? If you move the folder out of Filebase, it loses its connection. If you have the folder where it is, and if I go here, if I rescan, right? So if I drop this down and rescan, that will rescan your project to find any Filebase assets. Let's see here. The next bug we got is loading bar. I'm going to go and say progress for now fixed. I don't know what causes the rec thing. Really don't. It's very annoying. You can see here how we do the rect. Basically, we're just Here's the width of our progress bar times 180, and then here, draw texture colors, position width, and the position of the height divided by 2 plus 20 width. I mean, there's nothing here breaking, like no odd floating point values that I don't see. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why it does that. I can't replicate it, so it's hard for me to stress it and break it. Let's see here. I want to fix a search bug in Filebase. Check this out. There's an issue here where when we open this, there's a search issue where if I type gun, I can find all the guns. Anything that's tagged as gun, you'll see here that we have 3D vehicle C military gunboat. And then here, a military gun in the title. But if I type, I believe, guns, I get blood splat. And the reason for that is because it's reading the description here of guns, and it's screwing everything up. So we need to... I don't know if blood splat, I guess we would want this still to be included. But long story short, something with the search is obviously off, right? So if I do, pushing more GUI clips. Obviously something with guns in the search keys is just completely breaking it. So we're gonna look at how we're doing that search, which uses a ton of link. Gun. I just want to see something here. So like, for example, military gunboat, target range structure, right? So what in here why did this show up? This shows up because we have urban target range structure, let's say a target range modular environment. I actually don't see anything that would cause this to show up, right? Unless this was internally tagged as gun. And it could be gun range, right? Internally. Could be what's causing that. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull up that asset. Usually I have Al tell me the tags here. Filebase, skin div HQ. Let me see here. So let's see. This is the target range structure 01. Okay. Let's see here. Let me find this. Target range structure. All right, here we go. So I'm looking at target range structure 01, and the tags for this are environment, frames, gun, which is why it shows up. All right, so something with the blood splat. Let me see here. If I type guns, this is blood splat. Let me look at that one. So for blood splat, blood burst, what is this actually called? Okay, this is blood burst sample. All right, looking at this guy has gunshot in the tag. So basically there's a condition in here that's just incorrect. It's like, hey, I found this, and then it completely ignored everything else related to guns, right? So this might be a pain in the ass to fix because there's so much link involved, but we'll see. Hopefully not. So we gotta find the search bar for this stuff. So when we do a search, we're looking for here. We're drawing some buttons. Login, asset, database is what this is gonna be in. So when we pass in a search input, right? That's where our search begins. So I want to find all of this by using Control-Shift-F. I can see everywhere we use a search input where we declare it as null. And then here we log what you're searching for. So if there's ever a crash, your search input rect, which is drawing it. Here we have our search input, which is where you're actually writing something. And then what happens after you write that? So here, if loading toggle is false, your search input equals whatever you search input. and search style, yada, yada, yada. All right, and then here you have our search. So let's see, here you got a box. If your search input rect, overlay focus search, and here we go, new window data. All right, let's say you made a search. You're gonna process a query. Let's see here. Let's see, I didn't know about the rescan, yeah. Okay, maybe if we also display tags for the asset / packs. Yeah, we might, that could be something too, display the tags, but regardless, we should just present to you everything that matches the tags as well as the descriptions if that's how we're searching for it. So let me see here. When you process a search, we basically talk to the asset manager and we query and we say, hey, here's the category, the parent category, the child category, and here's your search input. So we're gonna search through all those things and we generate a list that we're gonna query, and then we wait for that to come back, it looks like. So let's go into this query here. So we're basically querying a list of products, which are game assets, and we're passing in the category that we're querying, the string that we're, the parent category and the child category. Here I'm in all assets, obviously, so that's, you know, some of these are gonna be null. And then the search term, and here we declare an array for the results. And I'm gonna go through every product, and I'm gonna find the value where the current index of that product basically says, hey, if the category is equal to all assets, or the category is equal to assets, then what am I gonna do? Or if the category is equal to null, then for every x.categories that exists, I'm gonna grab that selected asset, and if the name is equal to the category and that category exists, then we're gonna grab that asset, and I think right now we're just organizing this actually. The name equals parent category, and the child category equals that. True, categories exist, category, and then where's the actual operation here? Here we go. If your search term is not null, then we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we got the list of everything, and then we order it by descending, X by date created. This is such a nasty piece of link here. Rescan work, thanks John. Awesome, Richard. Hey Richard, question for you about the rescan actually. When you rescanned, were the asset folders still under Filebase, or did you move them outside of Filebase? So let's see here. So something's broken here. This query is broken. We need to fix this query. This is a nasty query. Yeah, what's up?
They'll be here in like 20 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, I got about 15 more minutes, and then we'll do some more bug fixing and feature additions to Filebase later. So I'm going to be working on this. Let's see. God, I hate this query. All right, it's been a bit since I've done any link work. Let me see here. So we're accessing all the products. Now, these products, we have basically, when we open Filebase, we have a JSON data of all the products, right? There's literally 5,000 assets and 1,600 bundles. Those bundles are the actual products. Works well if you move the entire Filebase asset folder into a new project. Done that a few times with moving projects. Oh, nice. Let's see. So I'm looking where the product values. Now I don't remember what the hell the product values are. So we're going to go to what is the definition of a product. And you'll see here that every product has an ID and a name. Every product has a description, the date created, the date modified. So when we update an asset, we can get it downloaded for you. Here we have a short description, a SKU, and a price, which with a membership, everything's free. Average total sales, just download counts. Average rating, rating count. Okay, and then categories. We have every product has a list of categories, and then a list of tags, a list of images associated with that product so that we can display it, and then also a list of images, texts. And then here we have featured product list. That's for the front page. So let's see here. I didn't see actually where the hell that valued was. Where was that? Let me see. Products.values. What is that? Okay, here we go. Dictionary from the metadata. We have a value collection. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, we're storing. Okay, so we store all the products into a dictionary because everything has a unique ID and a key associated with it. So here we say product.values, and basically this is a dictionary that we're accessing. So here we say, hey, I'm going to access the products, which is a dictionary where everything is associated by an ID, so an int, and then we have a product. The int is the key, the product is the value. So we're accessing the actual product, and x is a product, you can see. So x goes to, and then we have a conditional here we have to debug, but x is going to be the actual product, and as you can see, every product, if I go to the product, we can say x, basically the whole product, and we can basically start building a list collection of things where, hey, the description contains, the SKU contains, the tags contain, and the name contain, and that's what we want to actually filter. God, guys, link can literally make your brain like hurt so bad. Let's see. So let's take a look at these conditions that we're doing here. Results equal product values dot where the product. We're comparing a product here, and the product as a whole, not an individualized value. Like I'm not saying x dot category. I'm literally just checking for x as a product, and we're basically saying, hey, for each x, and then here's a condition statement here. All right, this is a ternary operator that is complex as shit. I don't know why we're doing it this way. I don't. So here we have a condition that says x goes to category equals all assets. So if category equals all assets, which it does, right? So here category equals all assets, or the parent category equals assets, and if that's true, then we're going to say category equals null. Is it true? Otherwise, x.categories.exist, the category that you're looking for. So this is just checking: are we in all assets, or am I in environments? Am I in all assets, or am I in vegetation? I am in all assets when this search breaks. So now that I'm in all assets, what do we want to do? So here we have all assets or the category. If that's the case, so here, if all assets and if that category exists, that parent category, right? And the child category equals null, so there is no child category. That means that we're in all assets. Or the X categories exist, it looks for the parent, filters the child here, and is null or white space your search. If that's the case, we make it true. Else, we say to lowercase contains whatever your search term. All right, so is your search null? If it is, then it contains your search term. Or the tags exist, to lower dot contains, and this here is part of the problem, I think. Right here, we've actually just accessed the tags. So we're accessing all the categories, we're accessing the tags, and it's in an or statement. Looking at this, the name to lower contains, and look at this, I'm only looking for contains if it contains your search keyword or the tag exists for the category that we're not in, I guess, because in this case it's all assets. So I think what's happening here is this or statement is getting triggered, and it sees that, hey, your search contains that tag for guns, right? So when I type guns, blood splat appears. And if I look back on the tags here in the products page, I can see here that blood splat, which is a blood burst in the back end, is guns shot, right? So gun shot or guns, it found that tag and it instantly did that condition. So it instantly went to this or statement and grabbed that tag, and that was it. And then it was like, hey, go ahead and array that, all right? This sucks because I need to tell it not to do that. We need to rewrite this entire thing, I think, which is going to be a pain in the ass to do because I have to really understand what the hell we're doing with this. Let's see. And then here you got your result. So we say, hey, the result, order by, and x goes 2. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to figure out where in this it breaks before I mess this up. I just want to figure out where it's breaking. Also, I want to know what does the actual result look like, right? So we know that, hey, let's just get the first result that was returned. We know that it's the thing. I just want to debug and see what other values we can get. And actually, let me see. Tom suggests maybe we can get rid of the contains keyword. I don't know if we can do that. Tags.exist. So if the tag that exists contains my search keyword, let me see. Possibly. Long story short, we need to refilter this. If I go into guns, right? Let's go into weapons here. So if I go into props and let's search for guns, you'll see here nothing shows up. If I do gun, obviously everything shows up, right? And if I go deeper into props, let's go into props, let's go into weapons. 272 weapons. If I type in guns, once again nothing, and then gun. All right, so that's a bit of a problem here. So let's see here. I want to get the logs for what it's actually filtering, where it thinks I am, so that we can backtrack this. Because it should absolutely find everything that is also a gun, but that S, that plural, and this is only a plural issue. I believe this happens too if I do jar. Nothing shows up, but if I do jars, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in weapons. Let me go to all assets. If I do jar, you see we have multiple jars. But if I do capital jars, I can't find that. And it absolutely should be able to. You'll see here that it finds this one. I assume it's the same problem, right? Something with the plural breaks everything. And I think we can confirm that with a few other things too. If we look at plant, and let's do plants, you'll see here shorter list, right? So definitely we just want to fix that. The plural and the singular should be returning the same amount of info. Let's see, because you want to look for the full tag name, not anything that has gun in the tag. Well, I want to look, well, not necessarily, because if I just do, I want something that has gun in the tag. So we might be able to just remove contains, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. Let me see. We declare it an array of results. We're going to populate that array now. And I want to break these out into their conditionals. I don't like all these ternary operators. So here, to further wrap our head around this, could I check for if the last letter is an S, and if so, check for both with and without the S. That's actually might be an easier solution. Let me see. What happens if I type gun and guns, right? Do I see, if I type gun, do I also get blood splat is the question. So if I do gun, will I find blood splat in here? Because actually that might be the solution right there. It's just detect the S and remove it, right? Detect the plural and remove it. Maybe. Let me see here that we have to find blood splat. We have a blood burst here. Oh, we do. Here's blood splat. Yeah, that actually might work. Oh, not bad. Let's try something here. How do we detect if our search keyword is plural, right? Now the problem is, what can this break, right, if I do it this way? Or the proper way is really to just rewrite this so that we gather everything. And I think we'll do both ways just for shits and giggles. But if you wanted to detect, is there an S at the string? You know, is there a word that ends with an S though? That's the problem. We have to know, how do you detect if something is plural? You know, is there an item that ends with an S that isn't plural? Can anyone think of that? Like, glass. What is it? Glass. Oh, glass. Okay, yeah, here, glass. You know, here's glass. Now, what happens if I just were to type glass internally? Is the same amount of stuff going to show? It doesn't tell me the number of search results, but we have 2 pages here. If I retype glass, we have 2 pages. And okay, that actually looks the same. So that could be a solution, but I don't think it's the best one, guys. I think that's kind of like a cheap hack. The best thing is to break this shit we have here and rewrite this. I hate this ternary operator that we have, where basically where x equals, this x doesn't get used until this one because we have to satisfy these conditions. This is an if-else statement that's going on right here. It looks like a super complicated one too, so I want to actually break this up. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to grab this result here. And we're gonna save this one out. And we're going to work on this one. And I want to deconstruct it so we can understand it better. So here you see results equals the product values where. Now that where clause is like you can think of it as like a for each loop in line. And then here we do x goes to, and here's an if statement. So here we have one if statement checking for if category equals all assets, or the parent category equals assets, then what do we want to do, right? That's exactly what's happening here. All right, and nothing's going to compile here, although we totally could make it compile if we want, but it's just for clarity so we can actually see what the hell's going on here. So here, if category is equal to all assets, or the parent category equals assets, then what do we do? So basically we're asking, is that true? If category equals all assets, or parent category equals all assets, and we're checking to see if they equal true or not. If they do, then we're putting a true value actually here. And what does that mean if we just put a true value there? We're basically saying where a product goes to, and I imagine we'd just be looking in here, but let me see. If it's true, okay, that's fine. If it's true, we're gonna run this. Jules, are they here?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, I might have to wrap this up, but we will, we'll continue. I'll refactor this live with you guys later today. Probably in a few hours, I'll be back online. We'll refactor this. I think it's important for you guys to understand how to read these ternaries, because as soon as we convert it to simple if statements, we're going to be able to identify the bug very easily, and then we'll repackage it back up into a link result, because I don't want a dozen if statements. It's easier if you just do it with link and a ternary. So we'll reverse engineer it, and then we'll fix the bug and repackage it back up. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys have questions, just post them below. And yeah, I'll ping the Discord this time when I go live, and we'll continue fixing these.